Now, our next story is a very, very happy one. I promise you that. But I do want to give you a quick content note because it does touch on the heavier subjects of life. We're going to be talking about mental health, depression, and suicidal ideation. So just be aware of that. But as I said, it's a happy story. And I'm really, really excited to invite Claire to the stage to talk about transitioning with diabetes.
Hi, Steffi. Good morning.
Hi, Claire. I'm so happy. Yeah, evening. It's a very international event. So I'm so happy that you're here to talk about this subject. Can you explain a little bit what it means to transition and what your personal story with this is?
Yeah, so I am transgender, but more importantly, I'm diabetic. I've had diabetes for 24 years. And I know that we've talked a lot about community. Thankfully, I was able to grow up in a diabetic community. I went to diabetes camp.
And diabetes camp changed your life. You mentioned that before. It's incredible.
It was amazing. So community is definitely important, no matter what walk of life you're in. But yeah, so transitioning with diabetes is very different. I know population-wise there's probably not as many transgender diabetics out there. But yeah, it's affected me greatly. And yeah, here to talk about that.
So let's start from the beginning. You mentioned diabetes camps. That's where you met so many important people in your life. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was diagnosed when I was 9 years old. I started going to diabetes camp two months after I was diagnosed.
Wow.
And I have met lifelong friends there. Just as a lot of you guys were saying that, you've developed these friendships with people that you share common interests, if that's food or your chronic medical conditions. I met my wife there as well. So we met when we were 12 years old at diabetes camp, and she also shares diabetes with me. So,
I love that so much about your story.
Yes. So, but community support is so important for all of us.
So you met at a really young age. Since when have you been a couple?
So everybody loves that I tell people that I met my wife at diabetes camp.
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't understand that diabetes camp is a thing. So a lot of people think that you're diagnosed with diabetes and that's it. It's just like any other medical condition. They don't understand that there are these communities out there that help support diabetics as well. So we started dating. We met when we were 12 years old, and we started dating around when we were 16 years old. So we've been together almost 16 years.
That's incredible.
Through everything.
Okay, you mentioned through everything. So how did this topic of transitioning pop up with you? What were your thoughts at that minute, at that moment in your life?
Yeah, so I was 31 years old. My diabetes was a disaster. I was not taking care of myself. My A1C was terrible. I was severely depressed, had no good outlook on life. So I ultimately got to the point where it was either accept myself for who I was and take care of my health and take care of myself, or ultimately, potentially not. And if that be suicide or just a deeper depression, that's where I was at. So I was 31 years old when I decided just to bite the bullet and say, hey, this is me. This is my life, and I'm still the same person, and love me and support me or not.
I'm so glad that you made that decision, took that route, and your family supported you with that. What did that journey look like?
It was rough, but thankfully I've had a lot of support. I've had support from my wife. I also have 2 children as well. So it's been very supportive.
We
And
actually have some photos that we can share of
yes,
this beautiful family of yours.
yeah. So it's my wife
It's
and
lovely.
kids. So yes, support has been great. It's definitely not an easy road, but it's definitely a better road. So my outlook on life is a lot happier. I'm not suicidal. I want to advocate. I want to advocate for the diabetes community, but also just the LGBT community as well, because there are so many people out there that may be questioning or may have a fear of coming out, and
Mm.
ultimately that doesn't just affect your mental state. Of course, it makes you more depressed, but it can also affect your medical conditions as well. So there are a lot of people that are scared to seek medical care
Mhm.
because they are transgender. And that's not just for diabetes, but that's for anything, because there is a stigma associated with being transgender.
Yeah, we're also sharing some resources that we've compiled in the comments. So if anyone is feeling like they have a difficult outlook on life, feel free to use those links and reach out. But Claire, can you also elaborate a little more about what transitioning meant for your diabetes and what
Yes.
that was like? Because that was challenging, wasn't it?
It was a roller coaster. I don't know if any of you have uh, especially being a type 1 diabetic, going through puberty, it is a second puberty. And my blood sugars were all over the place. My A1C only went higher initially after I started taking hormones.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like going through puberty or being pregnant with your cravings, and my diet was not the best. Um, but it is definitely manageable. And my last A1C was 5.7, which is
Wow,
great.
that is very impressive. So it sounds and looks like it's definitely worth it to reach out and take those steps.
Definitely,
Mm.
definitely. It's made a major change not only in my diabetes. Um, 5.7 is literally the best A1C I've ever had. It's 5.7%. So
It's
um,
incredible.
yeah, but my overall outlook on life is a lot better. So
I'm
it's
so glad to hear that.
definitely
Is
worth it.
is there anything, I mean, we have this wonderful comment from Sana coming in, talking about the stigma attached to transgender folks everywhere across the world. Is there anything else you want to let the community know, any messages you want to
Yeah, I just
finish off with?
want to. I'm sorry. I just want to piggyback on pretty much what everybody else is saying. Community is so important, and if you feel like you're in one of these groups of people that may not be as like the majority of everybody else, I just want to let you know that you do deserve care. You deserve care with your diabetes. You deserve care with your mental health. Nothing should stop us from taking care of ourselves and being our authentic selves.
That's such a beautiful sentiment to finish this off with. Thank you so much, Claire, for sharing your story. There's an incredible article about you with Diatribe. We've also shared that link as well for people to read and find out more about your journey. So thank you so much for sharing this with us, Claire.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.